what kind of changes have you witnessed during this processes on the people who come to your retreats, who come to you? Can you maybe share something which had impact on you? I don't know.
Well, the changes are profound, definitely. I mean, inner child is often a first place where we need to start our work with, because we all, I won't say all, but majority of us have the wounded child within, which is by seeking our attention and help in needing our love and just the security is vibrationally creating situations in our life that will create a mess in our life, which will bring us to the point where we will finally have to go within and heal the inner child. So that's like the first step on the journey when we reconnect with ourselves, with the younger version of ourselves, but also with the wisdom that we carry within. And from there, a door opens for, next layers, next realms, and gradually lead us to remembering ourselves as the souls. So I see any trauma, any unhealthy belief, any emotion that is stuck in a body as a gateway to remembering ourselves as a soul, and a gateway to which leads us to just this endless space where all the information is, and it just pushes us onto a journey and understanding ourselves, life, relationships, and then just continue to journey on. But the inner child, as you mentioned, is often the first step on that way. And that's why it's very important. Otherwise, we stay imprisoned in this, loop of unhealthy beliefs, suppressed emotions that create either physical illnesses or problems in our relationships, or feeling stuck and, not being able to move through life, etc. So we need to start somewhere, and most often it is the inner child.
Mhm. So, what kind of experiences do you see in people, expressions on people's faces, for example, when you do your retreats and they have traumas and they, go through it? Is it very emotional time for them, for you? How do you handle all that emotions, that energy?
Well, I became worst, very, very worst in time. Before I was very, very emotional when I
Yeah.
was witnessing that, but now before I was feeling sorry for them because
Mm.
at some points they might be feeling sad when they reconnect with the inner child who is sad or afraid, etc. But now I feel very humble and very grateful because now I know that at this very moment they are healing themselves, and for me it's a sacred moment. So changing my perception from seeing that as, oh my God, I feel so sorry for the little child who was abandoned or neglected, etc. I'm now into, oh yes, this is happening now. Now they're healing now, so something amazing is gonna come out of this, and their life literally changes. I mean, there's not a single person that when they meet with their inner child stay the same. We all change the moment when we finally reconnect with the little one within. Our whole lives change because, first of all, we know that by treating ourselves, we are constantly in communication with the little one within. So we change the narrative. We do our best to treat ourselves better from on a daily basis. That we are here as our own supporter instead of our own critic. That most of people, until they start working on themselves, are in that critical mindset where they are, very unsupportive, and the words we tend to use until we realize that there is a little child within are often not nice words, which we pick up from
Yeah.
our parents or friends in childhood, or our ex-partners, etc. So simply there, the changes begin. But then also there is this big energetical compound, which is just when the wound is healed, then there is no opening on an energetical field that will continue to attract certain people with certain behaviors and situations that used to confirm to us that we are unworthy, unloved, guilty, ashamed, or whatever. So when we heal the inner child, it's like it creates a beautiful closure on the energetical field, and then we can start inviting in our life people, not just new people, but also old people that are starting to treat us in a different way because we are energetically on a different level. We are vibrating on a level that says, I'm worthy of love. So the way you used to treat me, you cannot treat me that way anymore. And we don't have to say anything, you know,
Yes.
because we are all energetical beings. So just
Yes.
there is no energetical match with the womb anymore, wound anymore. So that's the beauty of the work with inner child. It works on so many different profound levels, and it's so important.
And you're doing also did you say hypnotherapy, regression?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
You mean regression like in the past lives or?
It can be a regression in this life, like in childhood. It can
Mm?
be a regression in the time when we were in mother's womb, before
Mm-hmm.
conception and birth. It can be regression in other lifetimes.
Wow.
It can be regression in the soul realm. So yeah, depending on where the group is, what they need. Mostly we start with inner child work, but then we go as far as they can go. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Sometimes you need to go even further because there is a biggest chunk of problem.
definitely,
Yeah. Yeah.
definitely. Yeah.
Wow. That's really amazing. Okay, Guy. I read somewhere that you said that people today feel like they're only half living. What is the one step or two or three, okay, that people
Oh,
can do immediately after this podcast that they can start living more fully, more connected, more present? What is this mistake we are doing that we're living like, I don't know, robots?
it's well rehearsed, isn't it? The robot bit. We're really good at doing it.
Yeah,
I keep, as you were talking, then
automatons.
exactly. The challenge is, and my life felt like this, is that do you know the analogy of the frog in the water? You put it in a saucepan. I've never done this, by the way, so I'm
Okay,
just
cool.
saying. Yeah, no frog was harmed. But if you put a frog in a
We will put
saucepan of
disclaimer now.
water, and then put the saucepan on the stove, and then just slowly heat the stove, the frog will just sit in it and boil to
Mm,
death.
yeah.
But if you boil the water and then you stick the frog in, it'll jump out because of the pain. And it kind of feels like that, doesn't it? To me, that's what it felt like for me. It was like, what do we do about that? But when you're talking about one step, what can we do right now? I tell you what the challenge is with that is that we tend to go, yeah, we get ourselves hyped up and we're going to make change. And then it frazzles out of steam. And then we go back to the old self
Yes, yes.
weeks later. Right. And it's like, how do we start to really move the needle? So instead of running away from a pain that's we want to get away from because I'm feel so empty and just start chasing anything, or we're just waiting for the heavens to open up and everything to be resolved. Oh, there's my life's purpose. That's the way I'm going right here, right now. That doesn't happen either. So what I found to really live in is to just baby steps each day, but actually going inward, starting to look at what's the remembrance of who we really are. And to me, the mind thinks, but the heart knows. So for when I started, it's coming back to heart, and it's coming back to actually being okay with being frustrated. And these are great because they're action signals that something greater wants to start coming through.
Mm,
And you're not content of where you are. And that non-contentment is not a bad thing because it can be used, if used correctly, to start that momentum in a different direction. So what we want to do is create an inertia, a momentum, slowly but surely, like a big ship just slowly turning. But instead of trying to figure out what it is that we want, how about just actually start to clear the fog of emotions and things and wounds that are within us, which does take time. It is a process, but making the commitment of showing up for yourself and giving yourself that little bit each day. What I've found is that most people feel even guilty by putting themselves first. They put
Yeah.
themselves last with
Yeah,
everything.
especially women. Yeah, yeah,
And by doing that, we're always going to perpetuate the same cycle. So we can start saying yes to things. Look, and with that as well, I love that there's a term, motion equals emotion. So if you start to create motion, you can generate different emotions within you. But creativity is an incredible doorway to starting to access in, just starting to do things within your day that are different to the known is a great place to start. So starting to break any kind of pattern that you continuously fall into to start to create an unknown, because in the unknown is where possibility is. That's where the opportunities are. Because if we stick to the known, then we're going to get the same feedback and response constantly. So we're actually going up against a neurology, aren't we? We're actually going up against a biological imperative, a thrive to survive, that's ingrained in us. And with the overstimulation of Western society, that's amplified. So with all that in mind, to start nurturing that is coming back to heart, coming back to feeling grateful for the very things that you have. Actually just start leaning into a presence of being before we even start our day. How can we set ourselves up in the first 15 minutes of our day, 20 minutes of our day, to then start to create a platform as opposed to just falling out of bed? The alarm clock goes off. I'm going to check my emails. I'm going to eat the same breakfast, have the same, so forth. Why not get up and move the body, have a cold shower, do a bit of breathing, feel into gratitude, just change your state of being in those moments is a great place to start. I can't tell you how many people from our retreats have said to us, I wish I'd started this work sooner. If only I knew this 20 years ago. And I always say, better late than never. Get into it. Because the more you nurture your soul, that's your compass. That's it, your heart knows. And all we're doing is developing a relationship to that knowing and actioning upon it from that vantage point and telling our head that, hey, quit. I hear you. I love you. Let's talk later. So Matt says all the time. He says that to us too. Does that answer your question?
Yes, definitely. Thank you. I remember you have to start change from the very moment you open your eyes. I mean, you cannot expect different results if you do things all the way in the same way, every day the same. You're going to have the same life or even worse. So yeah, great thing to start from the morning. Maybe even from the evening, to make some... I will do that in the morning. I will do that in the morning. Make everything in advance, so it's easy accessible. Everything is I'm going to breathe. I can see that.
One thing I used to do, it just sparked something in me. Was I would write down the things that I wanted to feel into, what my life could potentially look like, and I would always look at it before I went to bed.
Yes, that's what I also do.
I did that for many years. Yeah.
You somehow train your mind already. You're already in it. I wanted to ask you, it's a question for Matt. That people are kind of afraid of new things, trying, starting a new life. You're 40, 50, now you're starting a whole new life. And although they are curious, they are a bit afraid. What would you say to them? What would you say to people who are thinking, oh my God, this podcast is so cool, I want to come, but who is going to do that? I'm afraid, I don't know anybody there. What is it about? But they are kind of interested.
We get that every time too, don't we?
Yeah, that is the question. I know many people will watch that.
If you can see the terror in the people's eyes that come into our retreats,
really?
not having an itinerary, not knowing what the hell they've just signed up for, with a bunch of strangers, and within 5 days they are so in love with one another. There's so much connection. There's so much joy. There's so much we're just all smiling and having a good time. And it's like we get to see, like at the beginning of those retreats, the most humans have been through horrible stuff, and we perpetuate horrible things for one another. It's just, it's heart-wrenching to listen to people's stories and what they're going through and what they're carrying around, these weights and everything, and the pain and the abuse and the trauma. It's so heart-wrenching. But at the end of the day, all we want to do is be connected, and that when people come through this space and meet one another from their hearts and feel safe enough to open up to their true selves, their authentic self, then miracles happen. And there's like this camaraderie and this connection and this joy and this love that just emanates out of everything. And it's like we're a family. We're like one beautiful family. Like people come out of the retreat and they say two things. They say, in those 5 days, I've healed more than 20 years worth of therapy. And then they also say, I feel closer and I've had deeper conversations and connections with these people that were strangers 5 days ago than I have with people in my life that have been there my entire life, you know? And that's the state of it. So I think everything that you might be fearing, that you might be questioning yourself, is the past. You know what I mean? It's like those constructs, those ideas that are cycling in our heads that are keeping us in those same everyday patterns that Guy was just talking about are from experience from the past. And so ultimately, all we keep doing is bringing those same things that were challenging in the past and then plopping them in our present day and then perpetuating them into our future. And so, like you just said, nothing's going to change until you change the way you do things. You change something in yourself. And I mean, these are incredible opportunities to do that. So I suffer from not being fearful enough, I think. So I've always just jumped in and just done stuff, and it just has opened so many doors for me. And so many beautiful things happen when I'm just like, I don't know if there's going to be a net there. I don't know if that door is going to open that I'm running head first into, but it does. And then things happen and things reveal, and I meet people and I have opportunities and have experiences that I never could have thought of. Like, I mean, even look at the studio I'm in, like playing a gong for a living, using sound as a healing modality. When I was a kid, I couldn't have even thought of that. It didn't exist. It wasn't a reality. But because I just played and had fun and just explored and let my wonder and awe guide me, I found something that fills my heart up, and it ripples into the hearts of hundreds of thousands of people now since we've been doing this work. So just sleep. just
Yeah.
just do it. I don't know how else to say it.
Yeah. Courage, and a little bit of, adventurous spirit.
Well, fear is just an empty room. As soon as you step into that room, it's no longer empty.
Good one. Yeah. Good one. Good one. I will write that down.
Good one.
As soon as you start, I will write that. Okay, I'm coming back.
Chew on that one.
Chew on that one. I'm coming back to Petra. Okay, so we're coming to more specifics about the retreat. Could you share more, please, about the retreat itself, the location where it's going to be held, what kind of experience participants can expect?
The unexpected. So, well, as you already mentioned, we are coming to beautiful Split, and I'm very excited. Firstly, to bring Guy and Matt there because I really, really love our coast and our country. So I love the fact that I can bring them here and not just go to Australia. But when you ask about the what people can expect, literally the unexpected, we never share the itinerary in advance. And the reason for that is because we really want people to not have expectations, not to, color and paint things in the way they think the process should look like. And especially because we always, as I told you, adapt to the situation in every single moment. So even if the three of us have kind of structure and itinerary, there is a lot of shuffle, a lot of movement, but definitely what it's important to know is that they are coming to the perfect safe space where they're not only held by the three of us, but by also the spirit and the divine beings that are there with us always. And it's a very deep transformational process from day 1 to day 5, which is intense. We start very early in the morning. We end up in the evening. and we just guide them from one process to the other, whether it's meditation or breath work or sound healing or hypnotherapy or regression therapy or energy work, a lot of stuff, embodiment. So there are many processes that we guide them through, which are definitely profound and very transformative.